It was just a little bit of everything. I underestimated mental health, honestly. I had anxiety, a little bit of depression, just being locked in here, and I just wasn't there. I checked out, and it was, games 2, 3, 4. I wasn't there. I felt like I wasn't there.
Paul George had just gone through a terrible 3-game playoff stretch where he shot 10 for 47, including 4 for 25 from behind the arc. It was clear something was wrong. And when he let us behind the curtain of his mental state, considering these guys are trapped in a bubble and very isolated, it would go a long way to explaining his issues. But let's take a look at those 3 games to get an understanding of the kinds of shots he was getting and why they were missing so profusely. First off, they have a sideline out of bounds play they run for him towards the corner. And this is the shot he's supposed to get, but it is a tough one, made harder by his happy feet. Watch how he skips on the right foot on the catch, which should mean a simple right-left into the shot. But instead, he picks up the right foot again and puts it down. While it's technically open, a lot of things from alignment to timing the swing of the arms while rotating have to go right. He does the same skip on his right foot in order to use a left-right 1-2 into the shot. He never quite got his momentum shifted, as evidenced by his follow-through so far out of bounds, and this one was short too. Speaking of follow-through on the release, so much of shooting is predicated on a smooth release out of the hand, and that certainly is a mental thing as much as physical. Notice how tight the wrist is on the snap, as if he's trying too hard to guide the shot in the basket, and just an inch or two can cause a miss. Now watch this shot as his wrist snaps farther and holds the follow-through as the ball drops perfectly through the hoop. Mind you, the holding of the follow-through itself isn't that important, but it's the smooth extension of the wrist into the release that is. And if PG's headspace is cloudy, the entire mechanical chain can short circuit at various points, and one miss begets another miss, and so on. Off the dribble shooting is wholly different than catch and shoot, so let's explore what's happening on 2 of his step back threes from the same spot. On this make, watch how he leaves the left foot on the ground in place behind him as he jabs forward with the right foot. That left foot being anchored early is really important to balance and stability as he brings the right foot back and times the arm swing up with the placing of the right foot down. Good rhythm, notice no follow through, but that ball is like a heat-seeking missile. This time, while it's a different move, he doesn't get the left foot down and anchored until he's already gathered the ball with both hands, and the arm swing starts before the right foot plants. This interrupts the rhythm enough to completely throw off not only the distance calibration, but the left to right aim, and we get an embarrassing air ball. Watch them synced up and you'll see better how these 2 shots are different and how the make works better for his mechanics.
Talks with a psychiatrist, our team psychiatrist, and I just felt it. My energy, my spirit just changed. I felt just in a great place, and that's all I needed. That's all I needed. I drowned out the noise, and I came here and I knew what my job was. I left it all on that court, and when I got off the court, I checked out, and now I'm ready to move forward.
Once he started struggling, both with his game and his psyche, it became a vicious cycle. And the surroundings had a lot to do with it. Seeking professional help is definitely recommended, but another way to lighten your life is to redecorate your walls. And that's where the geniuses from Displate come in. They create one-of-a-kind metal posters, either matte or glossy, and with over 1 million designs, there is no doubt Displate has something that will brighten up your day. How could you not look at this one and chuckle? Or be inspired by Martin Luther King doing a sham god. Because they're metal, you can mount them easily with magnets in 20 seconds. No power tools or damage. Check the prints I've got coming into my studio. You know you need to cop one of these ASAP. Or design your own, upload it, and get it in no time. Order now, and for the next 7 days, you'll get 30% off your order. Make sure to use my link to get that deal, and you and Paul George can get on to feeling happy, healthy, and making buckets again from all over the floor. Because I feel rhythm is so important to a shooter, and primarily when do the arms swing up in conjunction with the legs bending down into the jump. Utilizing the hop is always a great way to self-organize and recalibrate, like this off the dribble 3 going to his left. His body is already in natural alignment, he lifts both feet in the air, then springs off the ground. Smooth wrist snap, but again, no follow through, and yet that ball goes clean through. Here's another example of an almost hop. Both feet come off the ground, and it's almost imperceptible that the left foot plants just before the right. But it's that same lifting of both feet in the air preparation that generates the proper rhythm, something he just wasn't consistently getting during games 2 through 4. Field goal percentage isn't just limited to long shots, and oftentimes a good drive and layup help a shooter get going once he sees a shot of his go through the hoop. But having Kristaps Porzingis in the lineup seemed to cause him some problems, and it's perfectly natural to struggle to finish against a freakishly long center like KP, hence PG was no exception, frustrating him to the point of getting a technical foul in Game 2 despite scoring on the putback. The next 2 games were more of the same as George became more and more checked out, and it even showed up defensively, where he was making uncharacteristic mistakes by jumping out of position and leaving his man open, or seeming confused as to who he was supposed to be guarding. Had Paul George done nothing, I'm positive the rest of the series would have been more of the same. But it's amazing what can happen when you get to a place where you're willing to seek help. His first shot in Game 5 signaled something was different. He comes off the pin down aggressively, gets a little chicken wing out there, but uses the dribble to help him find that rhythm he'd been missing, and is able to time everything perfectly on the step-back mid-range jumper. With a size advantage on Hardaway Jr., he correctly looked to get into the paint. On the turnaround, notice the right leg extends to control the in-air turn, and the shooter's roll had to do wonders for his confidence knowing the ball could be kind once it hits the rim. Now, this could have been the start of a slide back to the bad place when it just doesn't get the roll, but you can almost see him consciously say, "I'm not going to let that happen," with his most aggressive drive to the basket of the series, and not having KP out there was also a huge boost. In transition, as he sees Luka backing up below the three-point line, watch how he uses the hop to perfectly attain rhythm. There's nothing Luka can do, and the rout has begun. Now, at this point, Kawhi had done a number on them and the lead was ballooning. Huge for a guy struggling with confidence. With less pressure to make shots from a close score, Paul George can play loose. Boban doesn't bother him like KP, and a great screen by Harrell gets him going downhill, and he floats the dribble so he can stretch his right-left deep enough to lay it in without Boban blocking it. Great read on the handoff as Finney-Smith got caught cheating and Paul George cuts back door. Another hop, albeit interrupted for a beat, but it still helps him find the rhythm he needs for the open mid-range. And in case you were wondering how George was feeling, here's another example of a pass way off target. It even knocks him off balance. But check what he does with this one as this game is over before halftime. PG wasn't generating a ton of his shots off of pick and rolls earlier in the series, so it's a good sign to see him get the drag screen out top, plant the inside pivot foot, and rise up for the wide open 18-footer that swishes. It's important that Kawhi and Paul can connect in the offense, and this ball screen to flare screen to backdoor lob was a beautiful example of knowing where each other is and executing for the layup. Another early ball screen gets PG heading downhill fast on Boban, who again isn't nearly as effective protecting the rim when it's George driving like this. And the icing on the cake was a pin down on his favorite side of the floor. Again, he hops into the shot, didn't bat an eye, and drops this one in, and it seems clear that George has found his groove. However, I'm a little concerned considering how quickly this became a rout. I'm going to need to see some makes during a tightly contested game in the fourth quarter to completely assure me that PG is ready to reclaim his spot among the top 10 or 12 players in the league. But I'm sure the entire Clippers organization breathed a huge sigh of relief to see a smile on George's face, a spring in his step, and the critical Game 5 win that will propel them on to the second round. If you like this video, click the thumbs up button and leave a comment. And don't forget to subscribe for more playoff breakdowns coming up. We'll have at least one a day during the postseason, so turn on those notifications so you can be alerted right away. You in?